This guy, with his tenacity and his speed and his ability, incredible. Well, the moment he walked in the door, he brought a whole new mentality to this Panther team. Tkachuk, ka-ching! He's got the hat trick. Oh, what a night back home in St. Louis.
Let's celebrate Matthew Tkachuk. This guy has turned it on.
Tkachuk has helped facilitate a lot of those passes into the slot. People are focusing on Tkachuk because he's been so good.
He is a warrior.
It's going to be Chuck E. Cheese's goal.
Tkachuk does it again.
At number 9, it is the Stanley Cup champion, Matthew Tkachuk. How about this, Rupper? 2 years in Florida. First year gets his team to the Stanley Cup final. Year number 2, back to the final, and this time he wins it. Coincidence for Matthew Tkachuk?
No, I don't think so. And he called it. Remember when they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, he said, we will be back. And we saw that kind of run a lot in this past spring/summer when they hoisted the Stanley Cup. And this guy's been worth every bit. A huge trade, we know, when they ended up swinging that with the Calgary Flames. Mm-hmm. But I just what he's done, and I love where he's at here. He influences the game in so many different ways. We know about the point totals, but how about what a gamer he was in the playoffs as well. I mean, he came through with 22. What do you have? 22 points. He was absolutely incredible what he did here for the Florida Panthers, and that's the thing. We've seen him get over 100 points. We've seen him find ways to surprise us maybe in the point totals. This year his point total's down a little bit, but doesn't really affect too much of what he brings because he brings so many different things to the table.
When you do a countdown show, people always debate out there whether or not this guy's too high on the list or too low on the list. There might be some fans out there that say Matthew Tkachuk, great player, not top 10. How do you respond to that?
I disagree. I just think when you're talking about influencing a game, and that's a pretty blanketing statement. It can mean a bunch of different things. But just how we just talked about Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes, it's very obvious how he influences games. If he could find even other ways, because some nights you're not going to get points in the National Hockey League. Matthew Tkachuk showed he can get 109 points. He can surpass that monster year he had there in Calgary, and he did it his first year in Florida. But there's, the fact that he had 80 points and he's still in the top 10 shows you he hits, he draws penalties, he gets you engaged in the game. He's always smacking on that mouth guard, making things happen out there.
He's annoying.
No, he's annoying
against him.
He's annoying, and there's value in that because it's a long season, and you have to have players that engage your team, get you involved in the game, and I just think he's that guy, and I think something needs to be said. Sasha Barkov's the leader on this team with the C. Well, Matthew Tkachuk seems like he's the vocal leader on that squad, and he got himself a Stanley Cup, so I don't think he's going to quiet down anytime soon.
He's a pest, but he's also a superstar. He's the only player in the NHL with at least 250 points, 250 pins over the last 3 seasons. Nobody else in the NHL has done that. Is there anybody else in the NHL quite like him at this point?
I think if probably not right now, maybe to the level that he's at, but I mean a comp that we've seen in the last number of years, probably Brad Marchand, like what he does, right? And they're different in some ways, but they're very similar in others. And I think it's really important that's a team that won in Florida the President's Trophy, and we knew how they got knocked out in that first round by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they wanted to find a way to get over that hump come playoff time. Well, they got a player, I think, who helped change the whole dynamic of the team, the franchise. And a lot of guys have picked up and followed along the last couple seasons. But without Matthew Tkachuk, without that trade, without getting him in there, signing him to that deal, and being like, show us the way of the way that you play, the Tkachuk way, if you will.
Yeah,
I don't think this team would have won the Cup.
No, you're absolutely right. Stanley Cup champion Matthew Tkachuk checking in at number 9.